Cryptocurrencies have literally never been this boring. And I don't mean that nothing is going on. I actually mean it only in terms of price. Bitcoin is not moving anywhere. Ethereum is not moving anywhere. Luckily, I guess, stablecoins are not moving anywhere. And you can see the worst performer in this entire little list here is XRP at minus 1.7%, with the worst coin over the last 24 hours being 8% down, and the best being up 6%, Bitcoin Cash, funny enough. But let me in this video enlighten you about everything that's going on in crypto right now. So if you guys enjoy yourselves a good little crypto update, make sure you go ahead and press that like button. First of all, everybody has been talking about the idea that PayPal is launching their own new stablecoin. They said officially today, we're unveiling a new stablecoin, PayPal USD or Pi USD. It's designed for payments and is backed by highly liquid and secure assets. Starting today and rolling out in the next few weeks, you can already kind of see it right there, you'll be able to buy, sell, hold, and transfer Pi USD. And the most important part, in my opinion, is that it is built on Ethereum. I didn't expect that. It's pretty wild. And apparently when looking around, it was actually put up that apparently PayPal's stablecoin Pi USD was preparing to cooperate with FTX to first issue on Solana last year. The two parties had signed a relevant cooperation agreement, but then due to FTX's crash, the work was suspended, according to the two people familiar with the matter. It's crazy to imagine how far FTX would have made it this year if they didn't get caught. Mostly, I think, by CZ. But just for fun, think about it. They would have had the partnership, $100 million or something like that, with Taylor Swift running, still in their FTX stadium, having their coin probably in some way, shape, or form more connected to PayPal, or perhaps just their mainly invested crypto Solana. And it makes you think about the underlying situation of it all. I mean, I can't confirm this is true, but what I can confirm is that Binance had so much trouble with their BUSD, right? As stablecoins were such a big issue. And right now in the US, they're talking about stablecoin regulation day by day by day. Yet then I take a look at the announcement of PayPal hopping in this space and I think, they seem to not have any issues because they're trying to flex it basically. Now, there's a couple things to add. Wendy had a video from last year that showcased basically that PayPal has actually got a clause that allows them to fine you if you're spreading misinformation, which, she basically is trying to point out that this Pi USD is going to have many restrictions. And even though I think all of us are thinking, oh, PayPal must actually be hugely bullish on Ethereum and must be having a ton of it, they did put some strange clauses in the whole Pi USD situation, as apparently there's a freeze positive clause. The PayPal stablecoin can be frozen, and it's not bad because I think any stablecoin can be frozen nowadays. But when discussing it with some of my devs, we actually noticed that it's written in a pretty old Solidity contract format, so to speak. So it's probably actually been in the works for years, and they just decided to go for it now, which I can understand. I mean, there's probably a lot of approval, a lot of regulatory uncertainty, and perhaps PayPal knows more about the stablecoin acts than we do because they released it at a very specific time. I've already said it to you guys that all of a sudden the SEC is imploding with a lot of criticism coming from inside, but the House Financial Services Chairman Patrick McHenry addressed PayPal's launch of its stablecoin saying, "This announcement is a clear sign that stablecoins, if issued under a clear regulatory framework, hold promise as a pillar of the 21st century payment systems." To which I'd like to say, this does two major things. One, it comes at one of the highest points of fear with regards to stablecoins in the most recent quarter here. There's massive amounts of fear regarding Justin Sun, Huobi, illiquidity of Binance, illiquidity of Huobi, issues with the USDT, USDC situation, and so they planned that timely, exactly to the core. It comes at around the same time where everybody's discussing how to regulate cryptocurrencies properly, but more specifically, how to regulate stablecoins. They just blast it in, built on a cryptocurrency. And I'm not joking, by the way, when I say that there's a lot of fear. You can see Jeremy Allaire of Circle had to basically step in, I'd say. I think that's the reason he's starting to tweet, because there's so many questions about the USDC liquidity, how much get issued, how much basically got out. But you can see here, a lot of people are also questioning proof of reserves again, or specifically, I'm not saying they're actually being mad about that, but they're mostly talking about how money has been moving around and why it's been doing that. So there's a lot of fear with that regard. At the end of the day, I must say, things in the crypto space have been pretty wild, even though prices are not moving at all. Bitcoin ETFs coming in hot, Ethereum ETFs coming in hot, XRP ETFs not issued, but should be coming quite soon, if you think about it. Ripple destroyed the SEC, PayPal launching a stablecoin, Coinbase are likely going to win their lawsuit with how things are moving now, Gary Gensler is a failure, and X, even though they promised they're not going to be launching a crypto token, because Elon Musk said they're never going to get a crypto token going. Many people have been saying, okay, but what if you're working with a crypto, like XRP, for example, or Dogecoin? He didn't really respond to that. But generally speaking, Twitter, or nowadays X, is turning into a very interesting platform with regards to crypto. I mean, it's more and more centering around it, and it just makes me think. But what is also going on in the crypto space, as I said before, is the SEC imploding. Mike Selig, all right, and his status is crypto and FinReg lawyer at Wilkie Farr, previously at the CFTC. He said the SEC's use of crypto asset security is a misnomer because the asset isn't the security. If recent decisions stand, then crypto assets generally aren't securities but can be sold as part of a security. This term appropriately describes tokenized stocks and bonds, but not most assets. And Miles Jennings came in to state, 100%, it's almost as if they're trying to sow confusion and uncertainty. To which Mark Cuban had to say, Gensler refers to all buyers of tokens as investors, which of course he knows is not true. He is from the Roy Cohn School of Legal Theory. If you say something enough times, judges will believe it's true. Roy Cohn being a very well-known lawyer, but specifically ruthless, and Donald Trump's mentor. Point being here that Gary Gensler knows exactly what he's doing, and he's doing it on purpose. Anyway, if it was up to me, I'd sit here talking about Gary Gensler for the next 3 hours, but we shouldn't. No, there are more critical matters at play. Joe Consorti shared credit card balances actually fell by $605 million for the first time in 28 months. The red shading is recessions. You don't have to be a pattern recognition specialist to see what happens next. So like it states, this is the U.S. revolving consumer credit cards, etc. And the number that he puts up here, it's all nice. It all sounds interesting, but the counter side to it all is that the U.S. credit card debt surpassed $1 trillion, a new all-time high. So when we're talking about the good side of things, let's also consider the fact that the U.S. in every way, shape, or form is just broken up. And in actuality, what he basically states, at least as far as I can fetch, is the idea that a recession should hit next. And people are also putting into effect all these other different macroeconomic factors. Employment index after yield curve inversion, this cycle being the black line here, hitting pretty close to home of being at the top of it all. Still, it having a couple months left, I'd say about 6 months or so. But with that regard, I keep telling you, we all know the stock market is getting ready for some sort of massive crash and potentially a bigger recession in the entire US or entire world because things have been going too well. And it sounds strange, but it's the truth. Things have been doing too well. With XRP, however, this is the XRP versus Bitcoin chart. It's actually quite peculiar that right now, it's looking like a massive bounce isn't coming. A couple of you guys put it out, hey, you might be able to see a flag in there. All I'm looking for here is the 200 weekly moving average, which this is yellow line, and the fact that right now we're getting very, very close to a potential massive bounce. I mean, this chart right here is actually prices that resistances and supports that we drew in a while back, I'd say a couple months ago already. Two things to become apparent. One is that there's actually been relatively no volume within these specific demand and supply zones, or rather this little support and another support. You can see over on the right, the volume relatively at those areas is pretty insignificant, which makes us believe right now the price is bouncing because many people believe that should be the bouncing point, as it's historically been a proper support and resistance. But if we're looking at the volume, since XRP has been trading at these lower prices for so significantly long, this is mostly all just unprecedented territory. And I'd say that it doesn't take a significant amount of money to bounce back up and actually potentially stay above there, as the majority of the interest for XRP lied at about 71 cents plus. You can see the range that we're in right now, there's basically nothing that happened as we shot up once and now are slowly dripping down. But there's not really many people buying, not many really people selling. It's mostly just flowing Bitcoin with a slightly downwards bias. And like we just said, that also might actually get itself a shoot back upwards. And the moment that it does, it could actually be significantly bullish. So of course, I'm going to be watching out for that. And like we said earlier, guys, the fundamentals have been built. I mean, even for XRP specifically, the base is built already. All it takes is just that one catalyst. And I'm going to call that catalyst the massive bull market. The moment that we get back to it, it's probably going to go crazy. But for some reason, there's just been this lingering pressure and lots of fear that are keeping the XP price down. But I think it's undervalued. Again, we can see nobody's really trading it at this point. Probably just some people are fearful cashing out. And it's not as if there's a lot of price suppression as of this point. It's just a slight downward bias because of Bitcoin and uncertainty amongst the people. I honestly believe the price got pressured at 95 cents, stopping XRP from reaching the most amount of FOMO that it could have ever gotten for a proper reason. And right now, it's just the market is indecisive because they don't know what to do. Should XRP be trading higher? Should it be trading lower? People don't know. And so they're keeping their hands off. Nobody trading the coin unless it starts to make a massive move. We already established that this is the lowest volume in 3 years for Bitcoin. It's the lowest volume in XRP in a good while. There needs to be a certain move before everything can basically start going. And that's exactly what we're waiting for. But guys, if you enjoy these crypto videos, make sure you put that notification bell on so you're updated every single time something crazy happens. That's about it.